left Peru and sailed to England alone. There he met the Browns and they took him home. Now a new life has begun. He's Windsor Garden's favorite son, 'cause he always does his best to help everyone. When a problem appears, he never misses a beat and always finds a way to land on his feet. Has his very own unique point of view. Looks at everything as if it's brand new. He is friendly and polite, and he tries to do things right, but he gets in sticky messes just the same. He's curious and speaks his mind, but trouble's never far behind. It's Paddington Bear, he's one of a kind.
I'm Paddington Bear. I had just watched an episode of Dick Dale Private Eye on television and learned that a good detective is always on the lookout for suspicious characters. Dick Dale says you have to keep your eyes peeled, then follow the scent. But I had been at it all morning and was still looking for a mystery to solve. After all, what's a detective without a mystery? I hoped that sooner or later something would turn up. But perhaps it was now time to look somewhere else. Dick Dale gets a lot of his cases from the police. They call him in whenever they have a really difficult crime to solve. So I thought I might try my luck at the local police station.
You saw a suspicious character hiding in a dustbin? Short, with a large nose, dressed in a red hat and duffel coat? Oh, yes, madam. We'll get on to it right away. Yes, right away. Good afternoon. Here, haven't I seen you somewhere before?
My name's Paddington Brown, and I live near here. I was wondering if you have any crimes that need solving.
Crimes?
I could do some undercover work, like Dick Dale. Bears are good at that.
Dick who?
You've never heard of Dick Dale, Private Eye? He's the greatest detective in the world.
Oh, he is he? And I suppose you are Sherlock Holmes. Hey?
The police weren't very cooperative. I was getting pretty discouraged, but then I struck it lucky when a fog rolled in. Everyone knows that the greatest detective cases start in a fog. I made my way up the Portobello Road, just to see what I might run into. Ooh, ow! Oh! That poor lady. She needs help.
Oh, hello there, Frank. How are things in the store?
Not good. We've had a run of thefts lately. We think it might be an inside job, but we can't figure out how they're getting the stuff past our security system.
Officer, you've got to do something. I've just seen a lady being kidnapped.
Hang on a moment. Aren't you that bear who came into the station just now?
Yes, and I saw the whole thing. A man with no hair grabbed her from behind and started shaking her. Then he carried her in there.
In there? That's Kimball's department store. I can assure you, my friend, no one's been kidnapped in there.
Don't pay any attention to him, Frank. He's just seen too many detective shows on television.
Something told me I wasn't getting anywhere. There was nothing for it but to take over the case myself.
Hey, you! Wait a minute!
I had to stay out of sight until I could find out what was going on.
He's short, with a large nose, dressed in a red hat and duffel coat.
There he is!
Sir Lancelot for men?
Excuse me?
It's cologne. Try some. Aha! Methinks it is lunchtime. It gets a bit hot in here.
I needed a disguise, something to make me inconspicuous as I looked for the man with no hair. Sir Lancelot for men?
Eh?
My disguise paid off. I finally spotted the kidnapper. But now that I'd found him, I needed to get some evidence.
Hey, come back here. Stop, thief!
It's him. Spread out.
Oh!
What are you doing there?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Give me that camera.
Sir Lancelot for men?
Hey!
All right. The game's up.
Wait, you have to look at this.
I know that man. He works on the mannequins and dress dummies.
There she is. That's the lady he grabbed in the alley.
That's no lady. That's a dummy.
A dummy?
Here, what's this?
So, that's how he smuggled the goods out of the store, inside this dummy. Incredible!
But what about the man with no hair?
I'm afraid he's probably long gone by now. What is it?
It's him.
How did you know it was him?
Simple. Sir Lancelot for men.
I underestimated you, my friend. How did you ever get to be such a good detective?
I did what Dick Dale does. I kept my eyes peeled. Then I simply followed the scent. Bears do it all the time. Mr. Gruber and I were visiting the Great Wall of China for his book, The World and Its Wonders. China is also the home of fireworks, kites and dragons. So I really shouldn't have been too surprised to find myself saving a dragon from a high place.
Oh, do be careful, Mr. Brown.
What are you doing? Don't move! Thank you, Mr. Gruber.
It's a good thing Mrs. Bird lent you her umbrella.
She did say it might come in useful. Look, Mr. Gruber. I broke the dragon.
They're circus performers, Mr. Brown.
Excellent! Wonderful! That's just what a high-wire dragon act needs. A spectacular finish. My name is Jiju, and this is my traveling circus.
I am Mr. Gruber, and this is Mr. Brown. We came to watch the show after visiting the Great Wall. Neither of us have ever seen a Chinese circus before.
Sadly, that is the same with many people. As the weeks pass, the crowds grow smaller and our circus grows poorer. But now a gifted performer is among us.
Oh, yes? Where?
The bear!
Bears are good at performing, Mrs. Jiju.
Perhaps I may ask you to come tomorrow and find more ways to improve our circus, like with the dragon act.
They don't seem very happy with our improvement.
What do you say, Mr. Brown? Our circus experience would be a nice addition to my book, The World and Its Wonders.
I think I shall like being in a circus, Mr. Gruber. I wasn't sure what Mrs. Jiju was worried about. The plate spinner didn't need any help, and I couldn't think of any way to improve the balancing act. But I wanted to do a good job for Mrs. Jiju, so I decided to take a seat and watch the show. I'm sorry, I seem to have taken your seat.
I think Shah Jiju wanted us to observe, Mr. Brown, not perform. But that was a very good trick.
Coming up with ideas was proving to be very difficult, even if Mrs. Bird says I get too many ideas for my own good. Here, let me help.
Mr. Brown! I think you'd better get down.
I only wish I could.
Come back, Mr. Brown, come back. Turn around, Mr. Brown, turn around.
Brilliant!
Oh dear, I don't think we're doing very well, Mr. Gruber.
Perhaps tomorrow, Mr. Brown. Now, I wonder where we should start today.
I have the feeling some performers would like us to start at the beginning, Mr. Gruber, before we'd even left London.
Oh, he's very good.
I'm sure he doesn't want our help.
Mr. Brown, I'm afraid I need some assistance.
So do I, Mr. Gruber.
Oh, goodness. This is most undignified.
So is this, Mr. Gruber.
We haven't come up with a single idea, Mr. Brown.
Mrs. Bird would be very disappointed.
There you are. I've been looking all over for you. I want to thank you for all your wonderful ideas.
Our ideas?
What ideas?
You see? We haven't had a crowd this big in months. Now hurry and get into costume. You'll be on soon.
On? I hope my stint in the barrel went unnoticed. I don't think I should like to repeat that performance.
And the cyclist wasn't very pleased about having fur in his eyes.
Hurry, follow me.
Shouldn't we rehearse first? Whoa! Oh, that was invigorating.
Well done, Mr. Gruber. He seemed to like our ideas, Mr. Gruber, but what'll we do for an encore?
Perhaps we can try getting down. You know, Mr. Brown, they do say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But I think we learnt a few while we were in China.
We certainly did, Mr. Gruber. But home is where you hang your hat.
And practice makes perfect. Are you ready?
Ready, Mr. Gruber.
Alley-oop!
Dear Aunt Lucy, my latest adventure came about all because I'd managed to upset my neighbour. Again.
You started a fire in Mr. Curry's kitchen?
It was an accident, but being Mr. Curry, he blamed it all on me. What's happening, Mr. Gruber?
The police have arrested that man. They must believe he's done something wrong.
Like accidentally starting a fire in someone's kitchen?
Oh, I don't think the police will arrest you without proof, Mr. Brown. In this country, you're considered innocent until proven guilty by a court of law.
I am? Good. I shall have to tell Mr. Curry that. What's a court of law, Mr. Gruber? And that's how I ended up visiting a law court.
Excuse me, sir. Would you mind putting your suitcase through the scanner?
I hope it comes out the other side.
Don't worry, sir. We've never lost one yet.
What do you do if you find something suspicious?
If need be, we blow it up with that. May I ask you what the small square object is?
It's a marmalade sandwich. You can see the chunks on the X-ray.
Well, sir, I'm afraid we don't allow food in court. I must ask you to put it in this bag while you're on the premises.
An important thing, Mr. Brown, is that the courts are always open to the public. For example, I don't believe it.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, that's me.
Well, come along then. The court's ready for you.
I didn't want to break the no food in court policy.
There we go. Ready to see a little justice at work, Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown?
Let us begin. Good morning. I'm Cloudsworthy, the prosecuting counsel. Please take the stand.
Thank you very much. I wasn't sure why Mr. Cloudsworthy wanted me to stand in a box, but it did have the best view in the room.
Mr. Brown, do you swear to...
Oh, no. I never swear. It's rude.
No, that's not what I meant. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Of course. Aunt Lucy taught me never to tell lies.
Silence! Who is this Aunt Lucy? And why isn't she listed as a witness? I can't find any mention of her, my lad. So you don't plan to call her?
I don't think she'd hear you even if you did. Aunt Lucy's in Peru.
Peru? With respect, my lad, but I don't think Aunt Lucy is very important.
Not important. Aunt Lucy is very important. You should ask Mrs. Bird.
Mrs. Bird? Really, Mr. Cloudsworthy, you'll have to do a better job keeping track of your witnesses. Call Mrs. Bird.
Calling Mrs. Bird.
I don't think Mrs. Bird will hear you either. She's out shopping.
Mrs. Bird's out shopping? Really, this is becoming intolerable. Enough! I'll deal with the missing witnesses later. But right now, perhaps Mr. Cloudsworthy can present what's left of his case. Yes, my lad. In the case against Mr. Brown and his neighbour, Mr. Murray...
Curry.
Murray? It says so right here.
I'm sure it does, but my neighbour's name is Mr. Curry.
Hold it. Careful now. Sit. Sit. Suspicious package on bench outside Court 3. Request immediate assistance. Not me, you twit!
All in all, I was very impressed at how fast the courts had taken charge of Mr. Curry's kitchen case. And then he accused me of setting fire to his feather duster deliberately, but it was just an accident.
A feather duster? Upon my soul, what is this court coming to? I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation for Mr. Mr. Curry's outrageous behaviour, my lad.
This is an emergency. please evacuate the premises. Remain calm.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, I'm Mr. Brown.
I just saw a Mr. Brown in court for a case against his neighbour.
Oh, no. The Mr. Brown I'm looking for wasn't here to go to court. You must be talking about another Mr. Brown.
Mr. Gruber.
Mr. Brown.
Yes? I'm Mr. Brown, and I'm here for a case against my neighbour, Mr. Murray.
Murray here. Who's calling? You! If you hadn't built that fence and cut off my access to the river, none of this would have happened.
Well, I wouldn't have had to build that fence if your dog had stopped misbehaving in my garden.
You could loosen a slat in the fence. That's what Mr. Curry and I did. And now we can both get through easily.
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
Good work.
Well, whatever the confusion, I'm glad it's all cleared up. Now we just have that bomb to worry about.
How? That was my marmalade sandwich you've just blown up.
Your marmalade sandwich?
I left it outside the courtroom.
I don't wonder you're upset. This is very good marmalade.
It's some of Mrs. Bird's special.
Mrs. Bird? Isn't she the witness who's out doing her shopping? This is a very serious offence, you know.
Mr. Gruber says that in an English court of law, you're innocent until you're proven guilty.
True, Mr. Brown. Very true.
Thank you.